All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coby's Brain. How's everyone doing today? Can we give it up for Ron Roach on drums, please? Nice. Can we give it up for Coby on keys? Yes. It's great. Give it up for my assistant, Cruncha, sitting down on that chair right there. Yes. All right. How's everyone doing today? Everyone having a good Sunday? Love to hear it. All right. So we are about to get started on this week's episode of your favorite show, Coby's Brain. Once we get our images set up. All right, there we go. So this is episode number 7 of Coby's Brain, and you may have noticed that some things have changed from previous episodes. For example, we got a new logo. We also fired the previous host, Coby. Boo. Oh, not laugh. Boo. Because he was extremely boring. So we are going to the creators of Coby's Brain hired a new host, and that is me, and that is Coby's actual brain. So I am glad to be with you all today. All right. Well, with no further ado, we are going to get started talking about what Coby has been putting in me recently. So, since our last show, anyways, that is. So, to begin with, he recently watched the movie Scoob. So, Scoob is a 2020 animated film directed by Tony Cervone, and it's the first movie in the Hanna-Barbera shared cinematic universe. So, for those of you who don't know, Hanna-Barbera is an older animation studio which had films or kind of franchises like Scooby-Doo, and now they're trying to make a shared universe like every other. Everyone's trying to do it ever since Marvel made a ton of money doing it, and so Scooby-Doo is no exception. So this film, honestly, beautiful animation, all-star cast. Mark Wahlberg, Zac Efron, Ken Jeong, Tracy Morgan, Simon Cowell. Really has the makings to be a pretty excellent film. However, there was kind of a lot going on. So we at Coby's Brain gave the film a 6.2. Not a great rating. Do not think it's super necessary to see it. But if you happen to want to watch an animated movie and you have the new HBO Max, I would recommend checking out Scooby-Doo. Or Scoob. Sorry, it's called Scoob! Exclamation point. All right, next up, we are going to throw it back a little bit. Coby recently decided to begin the process of rewatching all the Star Wars movies, starting with Episode 4, A New Hope, also known simply as Star Wars. So this is a 1977 movie directed by George Lucas, and needless to say, it's one of the most game-changing movies ever created. Every time you watch it, you are reminded of just how influential it was. Built up such an elaborate, incredible universe, and was just like an awesome example of storytelling and world building by George Lucas, who managed to create one of the most amazing world building experience, just films ever, and series, and a lot came out of it. An incredible story about a democracy turned into a dictatorship, some great characters, and amazing visual effects. So shout out George Lucas. We gave Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, a 9 out of 10. That's a great review. You don't see those every day on Coby's Brain, so but you got to give the iconic Star Wars a 9 out of 10. No doubt about it in my mind. All right. We also managed to make it through the next movie we're going to talk about, which is Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. So this movie came out in 1980, also directed by George Lucas, and a lot happens in this movie. The Star Wars universe is expanded greatly. We learn about the Force through Yoda, and we learn about kind of the economics of the situation of the whole Star Wars situation a little bit better, which is pretty cool. We learn the incredible twist that Luke is actually Darth Vader's son. If you haven't seen it, no spoilers, but that was a pretty bad spoiler. I apologize, but come on, you should have seen that one. I don't think that even deserved a laugh track, but thank you. Thank you, Amanda. All right, next up. Well, before we talk about, actually, go back once. We forgot to give it a review. We gave Star Wars Episode 5 a 9.2 out of 10. Incredible review. That's along the on par with Endgame and Infinity War, which that's my favorite franchise ever. So this movie is deserving of a 9.2. Great film. You haven't seen it, like, get on it, Next up, we are going to be talking about Hamilton. So I've always wanted to see the musical Hamilton because I've just heard so many amazing things about it. But much like most people, I haven't had the opportunity to go see it in theaters. And so I was very happy when Disney Plus announced that it was going to show the play on Disney Plus. I loved Hamilton. It's the best description I found of it is America then told by America now. I love that description. I think it really encapsulates the film pretty well. Does a great job of advocating for the importance of immigration and giving people the opportunity to live in this country. Because Alexander Hamilton himself was an immigrant, and also about someone obsessed with their legacy and the pros and cons of that kind of mentality, that approach to life. And great music, great acting. Loved this play/movie. Gave it an 8.4. Applause. Well done. Well done, Lin-Manuel Miranda, for writing such an incredible play. Hope to see maybe another one. I don't know how playwrights go about their days, but well done. All right, next up, we're going to talk about one of my favorite shows on TV right now. Well, it's not currently on TV anymore, but How I Met Your Mother. It's a show I've been watching pretty extensively. Finished between now and the previous episode of Coby's Brain. Finished 3 different seasons of it. 4, 5, and 6. Show created by Craig Thomas and Carter Bays. I thought 4 and 5 were some of the best seasons yet. Hilarious. So many interesting pieces of life wisdom for people that are, just for anyone, honestly. Surprisingly, under a lot of just like a lot of stupid comedy, there's actually some pretty insightful wisdom. And so definitely enjoyed this. I found season 6 to be a little bit sentimental and not quite as funny, but still pretty good and pretty touching. I'm loving this show. I gave it an 8.6. All right. Now that we've talked about the movies and television, we are going to transition into Coby's music blog. So, Coby's music blog recently has been focusing, Coby, the music portion of me, Coby's Brain, has been focusing a lot on this album. This has been what Coby's been giving me, and it has been excellent. Pop Smoke's latest album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. So for those of you who don't know, Pop Smoke, super talented New York rapper, who unfortunately his life was cut short. He died at age 20 a few months ago, and it was really tragic because it was right kind of at the onset of his of his fame. And oh, hold on. All right, I think we're back. We are back. And basically, yeah, he was shot and killed at age 20. But anyways, very tragic story. Regardless, this album has some bangers that I have really been enjoying, including uh, For the Night with the Baby and Little Baby, The Woo, West Coast Shit, Mood Swings, Something Special, and Got It On Me. Those are the current bangers that are currently circulating through my auditory cortex. Uh, Gotta say, this is a great album. Gave it an 8.6. Shout out Pop Smoke. You will be greatly missed. And I mean, it's a really unfortunate thing that so many young rappers have been passing away too early, but their albums have been. Uh, uh, sorry, we need a quick refresher on. Just make sure. I think my camera's lagging a little bit. Um, wait, one more time. Nice. Okay. Let's make sure we're working. All right, and we are back. Move the camera a little bit. Yeah. Move us back. Center us a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right. Uh, I think we're all back. We're all back and up and running again. Oh, go back. Go back. We're on the wrong slide. All right, back to Pop Smoke. It's been really unfortunate, really tragic that so many talented rappers have been passing away, but Pop Smoke among them. But he really left a great legacy with this album and a lot of the other music that he released during his too short of a life. Juice World, speaking of rappers who tragically passed away recently, also released his posthumous album a couple days ago. I have not had time to appropriately assess it. However, keep an eye out for that album on the next episode of Coby's Brain. It is incredible. Shout out Juice World. Clap. All right, next up, we're going to talk about. We're going to transition to Coby's reading blog, where Coby recently fed me the text by Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, written in 170 AD. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, Stoic philosopher, super smart, well-rounded, talented guy. Had a lot of really excellent ideas that really resonated with me in this book, and I found pretty insightful, including the fact that death is just a part of life, so we should not fear it. We should not let bad people bring us down, impact the way we feel, because their anger is their problem, and they probably have reasons for it. Try not to value elements of the material world, just focus on being a good person, which is ultimately our purpose. And a lot of other really interesting, wise tenets that he really kind of hammers home. And if you're interested in Stoic philosophy, some good insights about how to live life, I'd recommend reading the book. Coby's reading blog gave it an 8 out of 10, so that's a pretty good review. Only downside, it's a little dense. It's not exactly light reading. It's no Harry Potter, and I'm currently look for this on the next episode, reading the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Keep an eye out for that. Harry Potter is it's classic. Anyways, we are now transitioning to Coby's Thought Blog, where the first topic we're going to be talking about is, thanks for that applause, everyone. You all are great. Where first thing we're going to talk about is growth mindset. So I am a huge proponent in the importance of a growth mindset. Basically, the notion here is that if you fail at something, that is only because you haven't tried long enough or hard enough. You'll get there. You'll get it figured out, and it'll be great. And basically, by truly adopting a growth mindset, you're basically giving yourself unlimited knowledge. And if you have a growth mindset, you can learn anything. So For educators out there, uh, you're doing the Lord's work. Keep it up. And by instilling a growth mindset in students is kind of like teaching a fisherman how to fish. So if you have a growth mindset, keep it up. Let's get an applause for growth mindset. And applause for educators encouraging growth mindsets rather than simply teaching information for students to regurgitate. All right, great. All right, next topic, finding one's bliss. So this is an interesting topic. This is just kind of because I came across a quote by Joseph Campbell, a writer, on what it takes to have a fulfilling life. I just figured I'd share it with you all. So if you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you, and the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living wherever you are. If you are following your bliss, you are enjoying that refreshment, that life within you all the time. So ultimately, I argue for there is an economic argument to be had for quote unquote following your bliss, because you're going to work harder and longer hours and not be as negatively impacted it by doing what it is that you're passionate about. So even if it isn't immediately the most economically fulfilling thing, if you're following your bliss, I think in the long term it'll ultimately pay off. I don't know though. I'd have to see the numbers, but it's certainly an interesting argument. I think it's important to follow one's bliss. I don't know why that's so funny, but that's enough. That's enough, audience. Take it easy. All right, next up, we are going to talk about the ethics of bypassing bureaucratic efficiencies. Um, so here on Coby's Brain, we talk a lot about ethics and kind of the importance of us thinking about ethics. And something I do a lot of, and a lot of people do a lot of, is what I describe as bypassing bureaucratic inefficiencies. So it's kind of like almost telling, like, look at this guy up here, um, up there, telling, he's like hopping a fence. It's not gonna hurt anyone if he does that probably, but it's convenient for him, but it's against the rules. So, like, what are the ethics of it? And an interesting example comes from Curb Your Enthusiasm, where Larry's at a restaurant. Larry David is at a restaurant, and the waiter's like, no, you have to make sure that the food, if you're going to take it, you can't give it to your dog. So Larry had to lie and say, I'm not going to give it to my dog. So let's think about that for a second, right? Larry broke a rule. He lied. So, in the context of moral absolutism, which happens to be the moral system that Coby adheres to, um, at least at this point, he did something wrong, but it didn't have any negative effects. But if everyone did it, there would probably be some issues, which is where Kant, the moral absolutist philosopher, kind of argues against it. So, when it comes to white lies and further bypassing of bureaucratic efficiencies, it's really big moral gray area about what's right and what's wrong. Uh, the absolutist in me says not to bypass bureaucratic efficiencies, but I tend to do it all the time anyways, and most people do, and it's fine. So, moral gray area, further conversation to be had on that matter. In fact, I'm curious to hear, what does the chat think about it? Any insights from the chat? Well, keep thinking about it, chat, and maybe ask about it in a further episode. Shout out, chat. Thank you all for watching. 11 viewers right now. That's the best I've ever had. Can we get an applause for chat? 11 viewers on Coby's Brain. I love it. I love it. All right, we got one more topic for you all today. If you don't recognize this image, to the left of me, we got a couple scenes from my film Camus, which is a film about existentialism. And so, existentialism is a topic that's been pretty interesting to me for a really long time. And, like, long story short, I do identify with a lot of idea and existentialist and absurd ideas. So like I think it's important to start out by defining that. So when I describe myself as an existentialist, I do so saying that I acknowledge the absurd. Like that is the extent. Like so, acknowledging of the absurd is basically saying, all right, you understand the fact that meaning and understanding of reality elude us, yet we desperately seek answers. Like that's all we're saying here. That's all Camus even was saying. And for that reason, Camus didn't want to be called an existentialist. Wanted he was just a philosopher or a writer. So if I ever say I'm an existentialist, like that doesn't mean that that's not attributing any specific beliefs to me besides the belief that of the difficulty of figuring out answers to these questions, right? So that doesn't mean like an existentialist automatically assumes there's no God, religion is evil, life is meaningless, etc. They are simply, I guess, open to the idea to the possibility of those ideas. Pretty complicated stuff, but ultimately, I think it's important to question those things, and there's a reason that existentialists don't want to be called existentialists, and that is because they are not advocating for any specific answers to these questions. They're simply saying, ask those questions. So, if I haven't completely misquoted Camus there, no, I think that's what he meant. But yeah, he didn't want to be called an existentialist. But anyways, that's all I got for you all today. I just want to say thank you all for checking out that show. Oh, let's see who tuned in today. We got Sam. So we got a subscription from Schwager. Let's get some music going. We got Ron and QB playing. Cruncher is not doing anything. I need to hire a new assistant really badly because Cruncher is just sitting there. I would like some dialogue going. Who we got? We got Cam Riley. Oh, we got some Carter Barrett. What's up? Who else we got? We got my mom. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We got we'll have more episodes to come, but I really appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. And for more content, go to cobiesbrain.com. Again, that's cobiesbrain.com. And that's all we got. I'll see you all in a future episode. Thanks for watching.